Hello, my friends, and welcome to this podcast. I want to say thank you for joining me here today. Whether this is your first time here, joining me and connecting with me in this space, or whether you are returning for another podcast episode. Today, I'm starting another mini series. This mini series is about creating your embodied and thriving business, your sustainable, wonderful business, the business that you absolutely love and that you are fully committed to. And the inspiration behind this mini series came to me just yesterday as I was coming back to work after having 2 wonderful weeks away in Poland with my parents, with my mom and dad, and with my partner Mick, and had 2 weeks without doing any work. Normally, when I go to Poland, I do a little bit of work. I usually go on my own without my partner, and I do a bit of work, and I spend time with my parents. But because my partner was with me, I knew I wouldn't be able to do any work. And so I set it up, scheduled loads of stuff, had support with my VA, planned for it, and then try to switch off. And to be honest, the first week was a real struggle. Real struggle. I was thinking about work. I was trying to think about all the things that I haven't managed to do before I was going away. And there was a lot of energy of surrendering and trusting that my business is not going to fall to bits, that my training courses are okay, and the practitioners on it will be okay for 2 weeks without me, that nothing is going to collapse completely. And so it was hard work. It was hard work. If you have got your own business, if you're self-employed or you run your own business, you know how hard it can be to actually step away. And one of the things that I've learned over the last 8.5 years now, that I've been fully self-employed. 8.5 years ago, I left social care and decided to go full-time into running my business. And over those last 8 years, I learned that when I step away from my business, magic happens, because everything settles down. I relax and unwind, especially if I spend time in nature, which I did this time. We went for a week to Polish mountains. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm definitely mountains and forests kind of girl. And I had this time of just being present, connecting with my loved ones, spending time in nature, sleeping longer because I'm a very early bird. So I wake up very early, around, sometimes 5, 5:30, and keep going. So I've been sleeping in till like 7, sometimes staying in bed till 8 or 7:30, reading. It's been amazing. But something magical happens when I do that. And that's normally that everything becomes clearer because my whole nervous system settles down, my physiology settles down, I get more rest. I have time when I am just maybe doing a lot of walking or just sitting around, not really going on social media. I've hardly been on social media, not checking email, not thinking about what I have to do in my business, what's the next thing that needs doing. And what happens is that things become really clear. Things become really, really clear. And so this is not the first time I've had this kind of experience. And so coming back, back into my work, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to change without having to think about it or analyze it. to any kind of degree. It's very clear. It's obvious to me. What do I need to embrace and say yes to, and what do I need to let go of? And really moving beyond this worry or fear or over analyzing, and just really knowing that's it, that's right. And so the inspiration for this mini series on creating your embodied and thriving and sustainable business came to me yesterday on the first day back to work, from this experience of really having yet again this very very clear felt sense of things shifting, things realigning, really understanding what's going on. And you might know that I have been mentoring practitioners, initially frontline workers in social care, and then other yoga teachers and coaches and wellness practitioners for 20 years now. I love doing this work. There is nothing better than working with somebody and they come in into a session and they overwhelmed and they confused and they scared and they exhausted and frustrated, and they just so completely all over the place. And then holding space for them, asking some questions, giving some feedback, and then seeing their face melt, let go of the stress, seeing the relief within their whole body language, seeing that shift, and then seeing them smiling, seeing them just like, yeah, I really, saying their whole body and their whole energy and the words that they use, I really needed this. This feels so good. That feels clearer. I know what I need to do. I know what I'm doing is right. I know what changes I need to make. I absolutely love it. This is one of my most favorite things ever. This is why I love working with other practitioners. It really lights me up because I know how lonely it can be. When you are running your own business or you are being self-employed and wearing so many different hats and making all the decisions, and it can be very, very tiring and even exhausting, or even lead to burnout. And so knowing that being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, being self-employed can be very, very challenging. And most of the time is, and I'm sure you relate to that. Really understanding that from my own experience and from working with others, there is this calling that I feel to really support other practitioners. And I see so much confusion within the online space, especially about people putting so much pressure on themselves about what they should achieve, how they should work, what does it mean to be more productive, all the different beliefs that really, if you are to be successful, you need to sacrifice your personal life or even your health. That busyness is a badge of honor, and rest is lazy, and you're only valuable and worthy if you are productive, and all of that kind of stuff, or if you earn six figures, all of that kind of stuff that is here. And I feel really strong that we need to talk about it a little bit more. The work that I do, I am so blessed and so grateful that the work that I do is with somatic practitioners, somatic coaches, with yoga teachers and therapists, with wellness practitioners. So people who are very conscientious, who work in line with integrity and have clear values, who really want to make positive social impact. And this is really wonderful. This is what matters. And yet the same practitioners often struggle with the business side of things. So this mini series is about really helping you a little bit to pause, turn inward, reflect, refocus, gain more clarity, then refocus and realign, to help you a little bit on your journey to really creating a wonderful, embodied, sustainable, thriving business that takes care not only that takes care not only of your students and your clients, but also takes care of you, that really lights you up, that allows you to have this balance of work and passion and commitment and impact, and also the spaciousness and the energy to do the things that you love outside of the role of a practitioner, because all of it is life. All of it is life. So the first thing today, and I really hope that you find it useful. I really hope that you find it useful. So join me for this mini series, and some of the episodes will be with me, and some of the episodes will be also a conversation with other practitioners. So let's start with today. Today, I want to talk about something that comes up a lot, and that is this, how do you move from hustle, shift from hustle into calm productivity? Because working more hours does not mean being more productive. Being self-employed and having your own business is different from being employed by somebody else, where you clock in the hours. I mean, I've worked in social care for over 16 years. There were long, long hours. Many days I worked more than 8 hours because of the nature of my work, especially when I was managing and supervising teams. I was available for very, very long hours. When I started working in my own business full time, I realized that I still had the same mentality of, working long hours. And actually, it's taken quite a few years to shift this belief that actually more hours does not mean more productivity. That actually I needed to start working in a slightly different way. And that leads me to this idea of hustling, really putting in long hours, and everything that comes with it, that I see around us, like be visible everywhere. The busyness is a badge of honor, kind of working your ass off to 6 figures, no matter what. This very, very, very masculine way of working. There was somebody I was watching a YouTube video of this millionaire entrepreneur who's got lots of businesses, and he often talks about how he works. And then there was one video about showing his day. And he starts early in the morning, going to the gym, then working, then, having dinner, lunch, blah, 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 working. And then his day ended up at 11 or 12 midnight. I mean, yes, That's really great. He's much younger than me. As a woman in my 50s, there is no way that this is a sustainable way of working. There is no way that I can keep working. Like, yes, when I was younger, I was working full time in social care, Monday to Friday. I was working, running my yoga studio and teaching in the evenings and weekends. That was, as I said, 8 years ago, I left social care. So that was before that. For 7 years or almost 8 years, that's what I was doing, working full time and working part time in my business. But as my needs changed over the last few years, I no longer can do this. And even if you are younger, do you want to do this kind of way? If you are a woman or a man, however you identify yourself, but if you've got other commitments, like you've got children, you've got aging parents, you have got some kind of health conditions, you've got other commitments like having a dog, like we've got Oscar, my dog, you've got a garden, you like cooking, then it becomes really unsustainable. Because really, you're not, it's not true what the society tries to tell us, that you are only as worthy as you are productive. That's not true. I know we are conditioned that way. I know that there is a lot of conditioning and a lot of messaging that comes at us every single day. I know that our society loves hard work. It's okay to relax when you're on holiday. It's okay to relax when you retire after the whole lifetime of hard work. It's okay to rest if you're ill. And it's not okay to rest unless you're exhausted or ill. There is so much of that in here. There is so much, this fast pace of bigger, faster, louder, more. And part of the problem is that this is why we are facing so many problems within our society. That's not sustainable. Completely not sustainable. The wonderful thing in here for me is that when you're self-employed or you run your own business or you're an entrepreneur, however you like to describe yourself, there is an invitation here to do things differently. There is an invitation here to find your own rhythm, find your own pace. There is an invitation here to structure your weeks, structure your work in a way that works for you, in a way that really values simplicity, that values having freedom to choose and freedom to really connect with your loved ones, that values having a positive impact in your community and in the world without sacrificing yourself, without sacrificing your health, without sacrificing your relationships. And this is an invitation for you to do things differently. And I am guessing here that you decided to do this, to start your own business or be self-employed, to have more freedom, to make that positive impact, to really have spaciousness and simplicity in your life. And the question in here is, have you achieved it? Have you got that? Are you loving what you're doing at the pace and rhythm that you love? Or have you created something that is not working for you? And here is the thing. Sometimes we create something that we love and it works for us, and then things change in our life. Like for me, over the last 8 years, my business model has changed a number of times, from having a yoga and wellness studio to then and lots of in-person classes and one-to-ones and Thai yoga massage treatments and coaching clients, everything in person, to then doing some online, to then closing my studio and working from home from the space that I have in my home that I am very grateful for. And then for the pandemic coming and everything going online. And then, staying online completely. And now again, shifting into, yes, everything is online, but there is an in-person retreat for practitioners that I am collaborating on with another wonderful practitioner that will be happening end of November. So in a few months. So really thinking about, our business model needs to change in line with our needs, in line with our commitments, in line with how much time and energy we have, in line with what we want to create and the impact we want to make. There is no separation between life and work. Work is part of your life. Just like there is no separation between body, mind, soul, and life in the fullness of it. When I think about business specifically, I think about those different things. I think about the embodied mindset. I think about the energetics, our own energetics and the energetics of our business. I'm thinking about the strategy that I will need to use. I'm thinking about the nervous system regulation. Is it nervous system friendly? But all of it, my business exists within the system of my life. It's not separate. Just like the work and my life exist with the wholeness of life. For me, there is no separation between spiritual and non-spiritual. It's just there. It doesn't exist. Everything, it's semantics. We talk about what we name it, but I am not separate from life. I am not separate from nature. I am life. I am nature. Just in this manifestation. So therefore, everything is spiritual if what we consider spiritual to be life, to be, unified consciousness, whatever words that you use that you describe it. And so in the same way, the business for me is part of my life. This is how I express my soul's calling. This is how I connect with others. This is how I create. This is how I connect. This is how I exist. This is how I live. I choose to do this work as part of my life expression. And so when we start thinking about it in that way, things start shifting, things start changing. This is not just a mindset shift. This is an embodied mindset shift. Like my sense of embodiment, my embodied wisdom, my somatic wisdom, the wholeness of me within life. How do I then approach my work and approach my productivity, approach what I create? Even as I'm talking about this, I feel this sense of calming down, this sense of I'm arriving, I'm here, I'm fully here. There is no rush. There is just this presence. There is just that connection. There is just, this is what's important to me. This is what I believe is worth talking about. This is what I want to share with you because I believe in it, because I've seen it work in myself. I've seen it work in the practitioners that I've been supporting and coaching and mentoring for the last 20 years. I've seen it work in the thousands of clients that I've worked with, over the last 25 years. I know it works. I believe I don't have to convince you. And I don't have to explain it if you are not interested. If you're interested, I'm very happy to speak with you about this work. And, when we start approaching it like this, we move away from hustle. We move away. I have to do this and I have to do that. And the list is long, blah, 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 into this is what I want to do. This is what I want to share. I believe in this. What's the best way of me doing it? And this way of calm productivity, working in a sustainable and nervous system friendly way, means that we focus on relationships. It means that I don't need 100 clients. Like somebody sent me this message, even recently, I get them quite often about have like 100 leads a month. And I was like, oh, what would I do with 100 leads? That's 100 people to connect with. That's 100 people that I would need to create space for. I don't know about you, but I don't have space for that many people month after month. I have space for few people that I'd like to connect with on a much more meaningful level, to share my work, to share my understanding, to share the tools, to share the strategy, to share the practices. But I don't have time to connect with so many people, or energy or capacity. That's too much. And maybe if I change my business model, I could hold that much capacity. I would have more capacity to do that. Right now, at the stage that I am at, I don't have that capacity, but I have got capacity to connect with a smaller number of people, but go deeper, because that's one of my values. That's what's important to me. So really understanding that when we talk about business, when we want to move away from hustle into this calm productivity, that doesn't mean that we let go of taking action. That doesn't mean that we go for long walks and we just journal and we do some manifesting. And, there is work involved. There is a lot of hard work involved. Sometimes it's really hard. You have to learn new systems. You have to make a lot of decisions. You have to hold space. You have to create, like for me, create the trainings and hold space and deliver those trainings. There is a lot of hard work. Yes. Especially at the beginning, till you work out what works, until you experiment enough to actually know this feels right. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I worked it out and I'm just going to build on it. Then it gets much easier. This is the kind of stuff that nobody can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. Just because you bought a business course, or you signed up to some kind of mastermind or mentorship, doesn't mean that things will get done. You have to take action, you have to implement, you have to show up. There is hard work, and it gets easier with time. We work things out. We put systems in place, we get support, it shifts, it's different. So where you are in your business model is really important. At the beginning, you need to do a lot of energy. You need to have a lot of energy to take a lot of action. So this is something that we'll be talking in the next episodes. But for today, my question to you and my invitation to reflection is this. When you look at overall how your business is, are you more in the hustle energy, doing that? Or are you more in a calm productivity? Are you trying to do everything? Or are you trying to do few things that really make the biggest difference and are most aligned with your strengths, with what you're trying to achieve, with who you are, with what your clients need? And this question, I'm asking you this question, I'm asking you to reflect, not so you can take out a big stick and bash yourself over the head to prove yourself that you are not good enough and you should be much further than you are and nothing is working. I'm asking that question to invite you to consciously, compassionately, mindfully, with heart and kindness, to really reflect, to really be honest with yourself. And one of the things that I know for sure is that all those things that you are feeling, this dissatisfaction, this frustration, this losing connection with your passion, losing connection with your commitment, they can come for a few different reasons. One of them is that, and this is what I see the most, is just really, having to reassess and shift how you do things. And that happens, from experience. I know that happens regularly. Every time something shifted, every time your needs change, every time something happens in your life, something changes in your life, there is a need for readjusting. So this dissatisfaction, this frustration, this disconnection is an invitation to pause, reflect, and reconnect. And then once you have that clarity, readjust and refocus. So take a little bit of time. If you like to journal, grab a journal and really write everything that comes up for you without censoring. I call it embodied vomiting practice. It's the practice of just writing everything, getting it out of your inner experience into a piece of paper to really see what's going on for you within the context of your business. When you have that kind of clarity, then you can decide what your next step is, what you're going to embrace and say yes to, what you're going to let go of. How can you keep moving forward in a way that is best aligned with what's most important for you within your business? So I hope you find it useful, this little exploration of how we can shift from hustle into calm productivity. Take some time to reflect, and I hope you will join me for the next and future episodes of this mini series. Take care for now.